forget everything.
I'm scared.
Let's get this going.
Okay.
I should still have an intro.
Of course.
Let me get back into my flow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Officially starting the Hard-Headed Podcast. Welcome everyone to the Hard-Headed Podcast. So this is finally episode 1. We can finally get this going. We've been trying to get this going and I said get this going like so many times.
Absolutely.
We've been trying to make it happen for like the past 3-4 months, I would say.
Yeah, 3-4 months. That's how long it's been?
Yeah. So I think we owe everyone an explanation as to what this is. This is the Hard-Headed Podcast where we talk about feelings, we talk about relationships, and we talk about marriage. So the first thing I like to start with is, how are you feeling? So everyone listening, everyone watching, how are you feeling? You, my beloved wife, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, especially after coming out of a flu. Much better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm feeling gassy.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. No, I'm
All right,
feeling...
we're oversharing now. Okay.
This is about sharing everything, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
All right.
That was more like
How
yesterday.
are you really feeling?
Excited because I love doing things where I can connect and relate part of myself with our big family, the social media family. So, and I've always wanted to talk about everything relationship oriented because I think there's a lot to cover there.
Yeah.
And you know, you know already that mental wellness is a big part of you know, our lifestyle, and it's something we want to share with the audience. So we actually have a few questions that we collected from way back, a few months. So we'll be covering that too.
3-4 months ago.
Yes. Finally. But before we get into that, I think we want to just start by introducing ourselves.
Yeah.
So who are we?
Who are we? Who are we and how we met?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
How did we start this? What do you think?
Okay. I want to take it backwards.
Yeah.
What is the Hard-Headed Podcast? How did we come up with that? Because it was almost going to be called the Mark and Rita Podcast.
Yeah.
But that's kind of our brand, so to speak. And I felt that what is it we wanted to talk about? We wanted to talk about, like I said before, marriage. So I felt like part of relationships is also about navigating feelings and sometimes navigating hard-headedness, right? There's a lot of times our minds can block us from being able to be open and vulnerable, right? So then I thought a play on word on hard-headed would really kind of break that.
You just said it and it clicked. I'm like, oh, smart.
Yes.
I love it.
And the idea is to go from heart to head, connecting both those parts.
Yeah.
And unfold them.
Does that make sense, everyone?
I hope it does. Still warming up here. This is like episode 1.
I know. I'm not used to this. Okay.
So, before starting this, I think we need to explain, how did Mark and Rita start? Because that's not what it was meant to be in the beginning. We were supposed to start doing travel vlogs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was fun, but it didn't work for our lifestyle.
Especially with YouTube changing their algorithm and everything. So one day we were in Bali and just in bed, and Mark had upset stomach and he couldn't really get out of bed. So we were like, what do we do? We went on TikTok and I think I just filmed a random video that had like a filter on my face that made me look like a man. So just like added a mustache and a beard. And
still was hot, but you know.
Really?
It's
you want me to grow a mustache now?
No, I mean, it look cute with a beard, but
right.
I mean, no, not really. Like, my point is, I love you regardless.
Let's let you stick with a beard and mustache, okay? All right. So I did a video about that and posted it for fun and got like thousands of views.
Like 20,000.
We're like, what's happening?
And I was like, just do it. Because it was raw. It was like,
it was funny.
We're in bed.
Yeah.
And
so that's how we started making funny short videos together and worked. Instead of doing travel vlogs that took me hours to edit and post on YouTube and gain like hundreds of views, And then just that one little video. And I'm like, perfect. That's what we do from now on.
And a year later, we started getting viral videos and stuff like that, and people connecting with everything we're doing. And for me, like I already had an established account that you started appearing more and more in, and people were loving that. And so by doing that, they connected even more, you know. And I think there's something about couples, especially when it feels authentic and down to earth. People really feel like, oh, we get to really, you know, connect with them.
Yeah, but I felt nervous because I'm like, okay, I'm a fresh new face appearing on your page because already you had a base. I'm like, should I, or do I create another account? Which we did. We created the Margarita account, and that worked. But then we started collaborating.
Yes,
and I was even helping.
Yes, you went from being nervous on being in front of the camera to full blown amazing actress, which you always have been. And
you made me try new things ever since I met you. Yeah. Aw, me too. This is how Mark expresses his love, guys. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it.
I just become a little teddy bear.
Oh gosh. I feel like people are gonna eye roll or something. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on. I think we've covered enough.
How did we meet?
Oh boy. Oh dear.
How did we meet?
How did that happen?
I'm sure your cousin is listening to us and has a smirk or is giggling right now in the car or home. Well, his cousin being my best friend is how we met.
Yeah, she was the Cupid / guardian angel, agent of God, fate that brought us together.
Yeah. Should I say her name and expose her to the public?
Maybe not, but she knows who she is.
But her name rhymes with mine, so that's all I'm going to say.
It does. Yes. Okay.
Love you.
We actually met, when was this? Almost 10 years ago?
2018.
No, before that, like the very first time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
4 years before that.
Yes.
So like 2014, 15.
Yes, just about. So almost 10 years ago, we actually met for the first time. And my cousin kept talking to me about this person who was like literally a mirror version of me. You love Dragon Ball. You boxed. You did Muay Thai. I did karate and boxing. I love Dragon Ball. I studied in movies. My dream has always been and still is. That's what we're working on now, is to do movies. And it was the same thing with you.
You're like, is there such a woman?
And I was like, okay. But I've always believed in soulmates, personally. I always believed that there's someone out there who you connect with really deeply. Now, soulmates does not mean that this person is just like, you're with them and then there's no challenge. It's like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
It just means it's the person you're really meant to be with. It's the seed that's meant for you, but a seed still needs to be nurtured.
Let's call them soul partner. I prefer that term. Because soulmate is overused and it gives the image of someone that's like, okay,
happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, like that's your person and there's no problem after that. Yeah. Soul partner is a partnership. Because that's what I've always wanted. I wanted a partnership even before meeting you. So having a soul partner is that work you need to put in, but with the best person that you're supposed to be with. That's how I look at it.
The person who it's worth putting all that effort for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I always like to compare the guitar. It's really like you fall in love with that guitar and the music and it's meant for you. Mm-hmm. It's your soul instrument, shall we say. But of course, you have to put daily work. And what happens is time doesn't make it worse. It makes it better. Like 10 years, 20 years of playing guitar with passion, the music is even better. The songs are even better. So this is how I've always viewed relationships and marriage when it's meant to be, is you have to show up every day.
Absolutely.
I need a mic to drop.
Don't. We didn't really finish on how we met and how we ended up being together.
Would you like to talk about it or shall I?
I mean, let's just make it short.
Okay.
So we haven't dated the first time we met.
Yes, it was 2014. We actually met at a club on my cousin's birthday. And it was
more like a lounge, but
a very loud lounge that destroyed my eardrums because I'm very
sensitive.
Yeah, my senses are very sensitive.
Your senses are sensitive. Cool.
That's right. Yeah, nice. Hypersensitive. So yeah, we met, instant connection. I felt like I knew you forever.
Yeah, you're like my best friend.
Yeah,
that I've never met.
Yeah, but then I guess it didn't really work out to become like dating and relationship right away.
I think I was very focused with studying in university
Yes.
back then, and I was like fed up of love. I didn't want to be in something serious because it was a bit frightening. I mean, a lot of girls might understand this. But yeah, 3 years later, when I was more comfortable with life, I guess, is when she mentioned you again, your cousin, and I was like, what?
And I had spoken to her too about it. It was after a funeral.
After a funeral.
Death.
Of all events.
The truth.
Yeah.
In mortis veritas.
Okay. And the actors out.
In death. Because there's in vino and veritas, in wine there's truth. When you're drunk, shit comes out.
In death there's truth.
That's right.
Right.
Cheers to that. I'm Batman.
Like a Middle Eastern Batman.
Yes. What?
So that's what happened.
Yes.
And after that we dated and it clicked and it just kept working out.
Working on, baby.
It kept working on. And then after that, we did everything that married couples do before getting married.
We started a business together. Even before that, you literally took everything I had on Instagram and to another level.
I mean, I just
silence
made it look better. Okay.
Not just better.
It's
very different when you have the right person and you can get to bounce off your ideas and vision, and it just bounces and resonates and then.
Yeah. Well, I always wanted to act. I always wanted to produce, work in movies, work in anything that's media related, and I got to do that with you, which is really amazing. I gotta say.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really
I love it. Stop making fun of me.
A chair squeaking.
Yeah.
So
this is not our studio right now.
Well, for now it is.
For whoever's watching, this is like the living room / studio in our condo, but we are moving soon and we're gonna make a much better looking studio.
Yes, you get to take part in our evolution.
Yes.
As with everything. If you only saw my very first video, which was in my basement, and I used like a blanket to diffuse the light and with pins and shit like that. And that was my first video, and it did 1 million views. And I was like, what is happening? I had just come back from Palm Springs, and I was like, I need to make it. Things need to happen for filmmaking and art and so on. And I had met that lady that was like, Hollywood doesn't want you. And she was the owner of a crowdfunding company, which makes perfect sense. She was like, you make it happen. Build it on social media. Get your family, build your community, and then all your projects will build from there.
And you did just that.
That's where we are today.
That studio, guys, was amazing. The first time I saw it, I'm sure it looked big to many people online, but when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's it.
It wasn't just a studio.
It was so small. It was a garage.
It was a garage that my wonderful dad turned into a studio / gym / lounging area for watching TV or whatever. All in like a garage area.
Mark's dad's awesome.
Yes. I know.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. And then that's where you and I started continuing from there. And we ended up opening a business together before getting married, before even moving in together. Which is how there was no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Which might be funny or weird to some, I think. It's a big leap of faith, I think, to do that before even moving in together. And we'd get people asking, or I'd be told sometimes, make sure you move in together before.
Yeah, that's all you hear.
Yeah, make sure, because you don't know, even whether before getting married or before doing anything, moving together, because you discover things about the person.
I feel like that's a subject on its own, though. I don't know if you want to jump into that or...
You're right. Okay, we'll talk about it another time.
Yeah.
There's a lot to say about that.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our first Q&A.
Perfect.
Which is, we had a bunch of people sending us ideas on Instagram about potential topics we can cover.
And questions and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first one being fostering healthy relationships.
How do you foster a healthy relationship?
How do you foster a healthy relationship?
Would you like to start?
I don't like to start.
Okay,
to
then.
be quite honest.
Okay. How do you foster a healthy relationship? There's so many things you could say. There's not a single way to foster a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
There's the classic communication. But what does that mean?
What does that mean?
I'll tell you what I think communication means. Vulnerability and transparency. These are two very big things that we did right from the start. I just completely was transparent with you about everything that I am, did, want to do.
Not
Nothing.
just transparent. You were extra transparent.
Yes.
He was so honest with himself that scared me. It scared me. Remember in the beginning, I wasn't
Because
sure.
it also invited you to be also open everything.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's scary. You're literally opening your entire chest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like at first you wanted to make it official, our relationship, but I was like, wait, whoa. And it was like after a month and a half of dating, and I'm like, no, it's too fast.
But you were
Wait a
feeling
minute.
it though.
But I was feeling it. No, you can't lie, right? Your feelings don't lie. Communication, definitely. Communication, but that's something I feel like we need to expand on because communication is so broad and vague that it's not just about communication, it's about communicating feelings, hence
Vulnerability.
Yeah.
That's my point. And the second thing I was saying is that
Yeah.
besides transparency is having the courage to be vulnerable. What does that mean? It means having the courage to open your heart and do your self-work. It's not just about working on each other or getting to know the other person. It's looking into yourself, because the relationship, even when it's a soulmate, obviously, or a soul partner, in fact, it can challenge you even more because it's a mirror, right? Held in front of your face. It's asking you to look at all the things that any kind of baggage you might have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we had a lot of baggage.
No.
I've seen and witnessed relationships with really heavy baggage because we did a lot of self-work even before. That's something I've always been doing since my weight loss when I was 16 and doing martial arts. It was a lot of self-reflection. So when I entered the relationship, I felt like I was very grounded, and you too.
Yeah.
So, but it's still scary, right? You're completely giving yourself to another person.
Absolutely. And it's not just that, like your lifestyle is different from a lot of people out there. Like
True.
you're not the typical guy that goes out, drinks, smokes, you never did any of those things, even when you were young, like
That's
from your
true.
teenage years to now.
I was
don't-
pretty straight edge. Yeah.
Yeah. You're basically like a monk. Like that's why I like to call you the Middle Eastern Jay Shetty.
You're right. Yeah.
Because he really lived a monk life. You had a phase where it was even
For a year, yeah,
deeper
for
than
several
that?
years, yeah.
Yeah.
It's because I also had very clear ambitions, and I'm like, both in terms of knowledge, spiritual work, wisdom, and also my, business and dreams and stuff like that. So I'm
You were
like,
focused.
okay, that's what I'm doing. And so
Yeah.
I don't have time to waste,
Mhm.
Of course, and I only had like select friends, like my cousin is my family. We really connect
Yeah.
deep and we talk about things. I don't have millions of friends or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm going out every day. It's like I have something I'm doing, I'm focused, and I'm building brick by brick.
Yeah. But see, not many people do that.
That's
And
true.
That's something that I questioned in the beginning. I'm like, why don't you have
Yeah.
a social media? I'm
Is
not
it
talking
the-
about your YouTube channel and videos.
Yeah.
You weren't someone that was on social media 24/7. You were barely on it.
I hated it. I only did it
yeah.
because I saw its value in terms of reach, right?
Mhm.
Just like with television. Still hate it, kinda, but I also see the value, right?
Yeah.
Because you can connect with a lot of people, and we connect with you awesome people.
But in
Building
today's society's norms, it's odd. Somebody
Yes,
that lives
yeah.
that way,
Yeah.
that has that lifestyle, it's odd. It makes you question.
Mhm.
So I questioned you a lot in the beginning as to why don't you do
Yeah.
this? But I had a bit of worry. I'm like, is it more of is it because it's a complex? Is
Mhm.
like, what is the reason exactly
Yeah.
behind you not
Is it
doing this?
extreme?
Yeah.
I mean,
So, but when it's really, the more I understood you, the more like, however, I never had that, how do I say, doubt
right.
when you would talk about your dreams and ambitions. It made sense because that's how someone really focused sounds when they speak, especially when you have like something in mind that you want to work on in the future. I feel like I understood every word you said. Some people would be scared. It'd be like, what is this? Like,
which I love.
What are you going for exactly? Like, if it's not someone that's sharing the same, I don't know how to word it. If you're not sharing the same vision or thought process, the relationship will never work. It's downhill.
So you're both looking in the same direction.
Yeah. And us being in the same field definitely helps. So both of us working in cinema, we literally have the same degree in film studies, went to the same university, like the same things, have the same interests, the same sense of humor even.
Same values.
It helps. Definitely helps, yeah. Same values, but not like cultural values.
No, like principles.
Yeah, like principles.
Your like ethics.
Exactly. Like we have the same perspective and point of view on different topics of the world too, whether it's like religion and whatnot. It's we were just really razor sharp in how we thought and how we understood things, and we were on the same page.
And we talked about that.
Yeah.
We talked a lot. I feel like we would have a lot of conversations. So that was, I think, part of the fostering healthy relationships is you continue to share yourself with the other, right? But you have to be confident too that the person's willing to do it as well, right? Because if you're sharing and the person still has a wall,
they don't
feel like it's not parallel, right?
Right.
You're gonna hit a wall.
Which we had a lot of clashes though. Like it's not that I didn't want to share, but we had a lot of clashes when you were to ask me questions about, okay, what do you think about this? What do you think about that in the beginning? And I'm just like, answering, I'm not answering truthfully to for example, my opinion. I'm answering in, sometimes I would answer you in what is expected,
like
accepted
filtered.
Even. Filtered answers.
Or edited.
Yeah. And that would bother you, but
because I can see through it.
Yeah. But deep down, it's something that we both have the same opinion on. We share the same opinion and we actually think the same way, but you wouldn't see it that way, which caused a lot of fights and arguments.
Yes, sometimes it was just generally misunderstandings.
Yeah.
And also seeking to understand your values versus what society has told you is right or wrong.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Really digging. I'm very much about digging to the root cause, which sometimes is scary because it's like, whoa, what's all the way in? And I think from what I understood, you may have thought that there would be judgment. But for me, it wasn't. No, it was really, I want to understand. And I wasn't a hypocrite. I was sharing all of myself with you. I'm like, I don't leave anything.
Yeah.
Now we share our dream. Like we wake up every morning and we talk about our dreams, even the weird dreams.
Yeah.
Anything. You know what I mean? Because dreams can be all over the place.
Just talking about our dreams is what's scary because most people.
Yeah.
Because I lived in a household where they were very realistic. And where you had to live, okay, you have to go to school, you have to study, you have to do this, and then you have to work at this, corporation or company that gives you decent money and you're comfortable, and then you get married, that's how they live life, right? And when I came in and saying I want to study cinema and I want to produce and I want to work in movies and I want to act and I want to do this and that, for them it's more like, I didn't really have the... I'm not going to say like support. They did support me because they still let me study in it.
The understanding.
And they understand. But the understanding, there you go. The understanding as much as I had with you. When I first met you, it was more like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Because at the time I was working at a marketing agency and they were paying me peanuts. And
marketing.
Yeah, marketing. And I just ended up staying there and not understanding what to do next in my life until... we both left our jobs, literally left it to...
Right before COVID,
to open our company and start it, which was a big move and...
huge leap of faith.
Yeah.
We're all about leaps.
Yeah. Not many people do that. But in the beginning of our relationship, I did have a bit of doubt because of that. Because of the way of thinking that society... embedded in my mind that I'm like, you have to do this and that. Don't go for something big because then you'll just have disappointments. So that mentality, that pissed you off. But that mentality was stuck in my head back then and caused a huge rift, not a rift, but like a big fight or
Between you and I?
there was a lot of emotions.
Yes, I would say
Because I would tell you, I didn't know how to go about this. I don't know if this is going to work. What if it doesn't work? You know, those questions.
You reminded me of the time where there was the first big cry, but it wasn't so much of a fight. It was more of we were in the car, we were talking, and you looked at me and you're like, because I don't have a plan B. Me, it's that or nothing.
And that scared the hell out of me.
And I jump because do it or die. That's how I am. It's very like I'm a soldier, you know? My point is, but because also I knew what your dream is, like, it's not like I'm doing something that is against what you want. You have wanted to act.
Yeah.
You wanted to be in movies and be in the media and stuff like that. So you had your own dreams and they resonated with mine. So I'm reminding you what you wanted.
Yeah.
Point is, we were in the car and then you had told me that was like, I think within like 4 or 5 months of our relationship.
Yeah.
And you're like, Mark, what if this is too big of a dream? What if it doesn't work out? And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And I thought you were saying, because I'm like, I'm doing this. And you thought that if it doesn't work out, I'm going to become bitter and it's going to hurt our relationship. And I thought you were giving me an ultimatum. That you were telling me, if it's not going to work, what if it doesn't work out? And I'm like, wait, are you going to leave me? And I was like crying.
That was like your biggest.
Yeah, I'm like, are you saying you're going to leave me? And
never.
And you're like, no, I'm not. I'm like, wait, so the conversation was you were never planning on breaking up?
No.
And I was never planning on giving up.
Yeah. Like, you know how you said you're someone that has plan A?
That's
only?
it.
I was someone that had, okay, I have a plan A and I have a plan B, I have a plan C. Yeah. And in case plan C doesn't work, I have a plan D.
But that's not you.
Yeah.
That was not you stalking.
Yeah.
That was your influence from upbringing and from society. Don't dream too big, because I'm like, what? I'm all about dreams. Anyway, so, excuse me.
Bless you. Ask me now, and all I see is plan A. It's crazy. This is where a relationship brought us, because it changed the way I think. Literally. Like, all I see is plan A. Yeah.
The next day we spoke.
But it was I had to do a lot of climbing the mountain to get there, you know, for where we are today. We still do. We still have a lot of things that we're working on, but wait, I want
to finish that actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since you're talking about
Sorry,
that.
go ahead.
The day after you spoke to me and you're like, your friend, you had spoken to her and you told her, I think Mark's my soulmate.
Yeah.
And then you looked at me on FaceTime and I just smiled. I'm like, good. It's about time you realize. Because I knew, like, I had that feeling that you and I are meant to be together. There's this fluidity and we have the same dream. So, and that's where you told me, never mind what I said yesterday. I just realized that I was afraid of dreaming. I was afraid of going after what I actually want. And so that's from there, I feel that was a big, solid checkpoint.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It's like, it was a big, I think, epiphany in our relationship.
Definitely.
And it was only a few months in. Like, everything was very fluid and fast with us, which I think is a blessing.
That's what I'm saying. It was fluid and fast and smooth at the same time. And like, it was a lot of big things, our relationship in the beginning. It was a lot of challenges because of what we do and what we like. And that's how solid we were in wanting to do these things together that grew our relationship. Does that make sense?
And that's why we're married.
Well, in conclusion, no relationship is easy. Obviously, it demands work. It demands a lot of expressing of yourself and your feelings and honesty, like really be honest with yourself and your partner. And that's transparency.
You know, no relationship should be easy, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, it's not supposed to be, by that I mean it's supposed to be easy and not easy, meaning you should definitely feel like there's a connectedness with the person, like you can be yourself.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not supposed to be easy in the sense that there's no challenges. You are meant to have challenges. but you see the value of those challenges with that person. When it's someone you're not connecting with, those challenges feel like they don't push you forward. It feels like it's more like you're being pushed down. You're not being yourself. I think that's one way to distinguish between whether this is the right person for me and it's not. Like, do the challenges help you both grow, or do you feel like you're less of yourself? Or are you more of yourself? Do you feel like you're rising above yourself and growing as a person? Or do you feel like you're less of yourself? Because challenges are there either way, right?
Yeah.
But that's one big difference. And it should not be easy, because you don't go into a relationship just for the pure affection. You go because you are together walking on a path of growth. This is how I view a relationship.
Yeah.
That's the partnership. You're both there to grow. That's why you expose each other's vulnerabilities, each other's baggage, and so on, because it's all meant for you to evolve.
And become the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you're with the right person, that's what they do for you, and that's what you do for them. You both become the best version of yourselves.
Yeah. I feel like that can perfectly align with the next subject here. How we handle fights or arguments and anger. That's a really good one. What really helped me in our relationship, and that's something you said once and that stuck by me. It's really important to look at challenges and problems as an outside thing. Like, this is you and this is me, and that challenge and problem is not in between us. It is outside.
In front of us there.
Yeah. This is the problem we need to handle. It's not coming in between us. This thing is what we need to get rid of together. And that really works, because every problem, the majority of every problem in relationships are always external.
That's true.
They're external factors, and if you think about it, it's, even if it's, someone can say, yeah, but what if it's someone, it's something I'm feeling. It's not external, it's internal. I'm feeling this. I'm like, okay, yeah, but why are you feeling this? Where does that feeling come from? If you analyze that and really understood the why, you know that everything is external.
Roots.
Exactly. Roots. And that's what you were doing with me from the beginning of our relationship. It was so hard.
Digging.
Yeah, like, why this? Why that? And I'm like, stop asking me. Geez. I got to understand myself better with you. It's weird to say, but
I think it needs to be paced too, because it can get overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, imagine therapy. You don't unload everything instantly, right? It's a process. So even with doing the digging, so to speak, I think it has to be paced.
Yeah. Of course.
But I never, this is like you said, that was a big thing for me, is if I would ask myself, what is a relationship and what is its purpose? And what is my purpose in there and my partner? So if I'm with you, I have to understand we're a team, right? If this is a partnership. So you're not my teammate if I'm viewing you as the problem.
Exactly.
This is the problem. And I literally looked there and I said, okay, you and I have to solve it. If the problem is me dealing with some fear, okay, that's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm not the problem. It's affecting me, right? It's part of the challenge, but we solve it together. So it's a togetherness approach.
Yeah.
Team partnership approach. Not, and it's never like, you did this.
Yeah.
Again, this is like from therapy. You just focus on how I feel. That's another thing too. Handling fights. It's okay to be angry. The feeling is fine. The behavior might not be, right? Being angry, saying I am angry because this is how I feel, is different than saying, fuck you. You did this. You asshole. You always, the always.
The always.
You always, or you never.
Yeah.
And accusing. You're turning your feeling into something else now, right?
Yeah.
Start with the feeling. And don't judge the feeling. Because you might not know why. It could be from your childhood. Okay, I feel angry about this. Why? I'm interpreting this, or from what I understood. Maybe you didn't mean it that way, but I understood this like that. Help me figure this out.
Yeah. And sometimes a lot of our arguments start silent. Because sometimes some people won't know why they're feeling a certain way, or they can't think because you're in the middle of your emotions and you have so much anger and you just feel like shouting and swearing in that moment. And that's why I feel like a lot of the times we pause. Yeah. I don't speak. I don't even feel like being near you. I try to go in another room.
Space or vice versa.
Yeah. You're also just, and it's just out of respect for the other, because it's sometimes when you're so deep in your emotions, you say things you don't mean.
That's hard, by the way.
Yeah.
That is very hard. The moment of anger, it's very tempting to want to just, especially if you misinterpreted something and then triggered all kinds of other things and you learn that from cognitive behavioral therapy, is really scaling from 1 to 10. You're angry. If you're an 8, whoa, do not say anything.
Don't even speak.
Move.
Yeah.
Until steps, find some space for yourself. You can even say, if you're aware enough and you have enough control over it, okay, I'm at 8 right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go away until I'm back at 3.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk.
Yeah.
And for the other person to also understand that I'm not like stonewalling. I'm not shutting you out. If I don't want to talk, it's more like, no, I'm doing this because I respect you in our relationship. I need to come back down to 3. Right? Because it can trigger anxiety. Why is he not talking?
Right.
Or why isn't she talking? She's like closing on herself and whatever. No, I need to.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, it doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't.
We're not fighting every day. It's just you have moments. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're tired. If I didn't sleep well, I'm more prone to being moody, and I know myself. I'm like, all right, I'm moody right now. I need to cool off.
Yeah.
So, and it's being aware of this, I think, is great, and it can help. And it's okay for you to be angry. It's just be aware of the anger and don't judge it.
Yeah.
And only argue and talk when you're under 5. This is how I view it. Right?
Yeah. I feel like the biggest trap too, and it's something I would hear often from friends, is they always want to prove that they're right in an argument. It's no, I'm right because this and that because that, but that's not the focus here. I feel like the more you focus on trying to be right is just not going to work out, because you're not focusing on the problem at hand or the issue at hand.
Mm-hmm. If I can say something about that, I think it's not just wanting to be right, it's afraid of being wrong.
Yeah.
Because
I used to be like that. Sorry to cut you. I used to be like that in the beginning of our relationships, because
afraid of being wrong.
Yeah. Always afraid of being wrong, but also always wanting to prove something, because I know you're right. It's weird to say.
Which I wasn't always.
Yeah, you weren't always. I mean, no one's perfect. None of our examples we're throwing here, we're not experts in relationships. It's important to put a disclaimer here. We're not experts.
Experts. We're not experts in
I can't speak anymore. We're not experts in giving relationship advice or anything. This is just sharing our experience and our knowledge and what we've been through and what worked for us. Anyways, you were saying? Sorry.
Well, to your point here about being afraid of being wrong or wanting to prove that you're right, sometimes it can come also from upbringing, right? Let's say if you grew up with siblings where you're always fighting about being right, or even maybe with your parents, right? Whoever it is, that can spill over into a relationship, right?
Yeah.
The thing is for me, it was also not wanting to prove anything, is wanting to understand, right? So being afraid of being wrong could mean that what you perceive are the consequences of being wrong. Meaning, if I'm afraid of being wrong, is it because I'm going to be shamed and judged and made fun of and degraded? So if someone's arguing with you, you think, well, I need to prove my point, because if I'm wrong, I'm going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
But feelings are not about right or wrong. Feelings about feelings.
And the why.
Yeah. And maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I am, wrong. Okay. But that's what I'm feeling. And why? Like you said, why am I feeling this? I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Sometimes I would tell you that. I'm like, listen, I'm angry right now. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I just know I'm angry, and I'm going to share with you the fact that I'm angry.
Yeah.
Let's figure out why. Mm-hmm. Maybe you said something and you didn't mean it that way and I misinterpreted it. Mm-hmm. So I think that really is, has a big part in handling anger. Anger and fear are two big things in a relationship, and sometimes they go together. You're angry because you're afraid of something you're not realizing or not admitting. Mm-hmm. And it triggers anger, but it's really you're scared of something deep.
Sometimes I give you warnings too before if I'm feeling a certain way and I'm moody and you're doing something and you're oversharing or you're talking a lot and I'm already not feeling it. I'd be like, listen, I just read an email or this thing bothered me and I watched something that's making me feel moody or I'm on my period. I don't feel like hearing you out right now or I need space. And that's something you've come to understand as not something I'm not insulting you.
Yeah,
and
or
it's
it's
just
not
more like
my fault or whatever.
yeah, it's not your fault. It's really okay. You need your space, perfect. And it's something we discussed beforehand, but we didn't do that since the beginning. It was something that was learned, right?
Even being soulmates, there's work to be done.
Yeah.
You're still getting to know someone, right?
Yeah.
So I think I lost my train of thought. I want to say something about that. Anyway, yeah.
Regardless, yeah. I think
we've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot with 2 subjects here. We're 48 minutes in. This is exciting. Our first podcast.
Yeah.
I hope you guys liked it.
Of course it did.
All right. Should we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's wrap this up.
All right. Thank you guys for listening and supporting us. Give us your feedback and share your thoughts. Throw us your questions for topics and email us at info@riseprojects.com. You can also sign up to our newsletter and stay up to date with our podcast and all of our announcements. You can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and directly on our website, riseprojects.com. RYZE projects.com.
That's riseprojects.com. Batteries not included.
I think they got it. With that said, see you on the next episode.
Stay awesome, and we love you all. Beautiful.